opinion, Scott. There were hashtag takes about the Dodgers and the order of their lineup. Mookie Betts leading off, Shohei Ohtani batting second, Freddie Freeman batting third. It sounds like, by all accounts, Scott, this is going to be the lineup moving forward. Give me your thoughts first, but before we get to the reasoning why, do you like this ordering of Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman?
Yeah, I really do. I wrote about this in late December, about how they would order that top three. I think that if the front office is thinking the same way that I kind of looked into it, is Freddie Freeman's had an extensive amount of time, like in the 3-hole. He's just, Sebastian talked about, best bat the ball skills. He does not expand. Which is terrific. Mookie's the exact same way. They called Ohtani a free swinger today. We're going to see a fair amount of strikeouts, but we're going to see a lot of pop. But I like the fact that they're going the 1, 2, 3, Mookie, Ohtani, Freddie, just because if you're going to pitch around Ohtani and you don't want to give up a fly, you're going to get to the 3 spot when Freddie's not going to expand as well.
Yeah.
And if you do, then he's going to put the ball in play. And if you pitch around him, he's going to put the ball in play because that's just what he does. He's had 4,300 career at bats from the 3 spot, 900 OPS. It says all it is. So he's had time there. He feels comfortable in that 3 spot. And this is the best 1, 2 in front of him he's ever had. So it's hard for me to be like, it's not going to be another plus.
Yeah. Sebastian, there's really no wrong way you could order these 3 guys. Is this how you would order it if you were sort of calling the shots?
I'm glad you asked me that. I was about to interject and be like, that's how I would put them in. I'm about to buy MLB The Show 24 when it comes out. That's the order I'm putting them in. Like you said, there really isn't a wrong way to deploy them. But I am comfortable with this. All the points that Scott just gave out, Freddie's comfortable in the 3rd. Having that threat of Ohtani, you have kind of protecting in a way. Obviously, protecting is usually behind, but in a way, it's kind of a different way of protecting him. You kind of have to pitch. People say on broadcast all the time, like having to execute perfectly every single batter takes a toll on a pitcher. Yeah. Having like that worry of facing Ohtani and then you have Freddie right after him, like, come on, that's a lot to ask of a pitcher.
Yeah, and I do think you can protect a guy from in front of him because if Ohtani or Mookie Betts is on base and Freddie Freeman is up, you can't pitch around Freddie Freeman. You've got to throw pitches in the strike zone because you don't want to, have 2 guys on. Because look, the guy we haven't mentioned is Will Smith or Teoscar Hernandez or Max Muncy or whoever you've got in the 4, 5, 6. Those guys are all-star caliber players. And so the lineup is going to be deep and it's going to be long. Sebastian, one thing that I posted on Twitter, on X, whatever we're calling it nowadays, was the speed factor. There's people talking about, hey, speaking of things that we don't really think about with Ohtani, his speed and the amount of stolen bases he might be capable of if the Dodgers were to let him loose there, especially not having to worry about pitching. But I just think from the perspective of, we know Freddie Freeman's MO isn't necessarily home runs. It's slapping doubles into the gap. Well, if Ohtani or Betts is on first base when Freddie Freeman slaps the ball into the gap, it's going to be a run. So I think part of the thought process, at least from my perspective, why I like this is just because Mookie's not going to get in Ohtani's way from a speed perspective. And Ohtani with Freddie Freeman's bat to ball skills is going to be an absolute menace on the bases. And so, while yes, there's home runs everywhere in the top 3, you've also got 2. I mean, even Freddie, 3 of the best base runners, even if he doesn't have the high end speed that the other 2 do in all of Major League Baseball as well.
Yeah. I was going to say Ohtani's speed's kind of like the forgotten 5th tool of him, but he probably has a lot. You could say he has a lot more than 5 tools because the 2-way play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is that kind of hidden 5th tool of his where he's an athletic freak. It takes a lot of athleticism to be able to pitch and hit. So, like you said, Mookie's not gonna block him. That's always the worry with how you kind of order a lineup. You don't want to have a slow guy in front of a fast guy.
Yeah.
But like you said, having Mookie and Ohtani in front of Freddie to bring him in with a double in the gap, can't ask for much more than that.
Scotty, how much do you think something like speed plays into decision-making like this? You mentioned that Mookie's most comfortable in the 1 hole. Freddie, by all accounts, seems to be most comfortable in the 3 hole. Do you think it's more of that, or is it more of kind of the unique skill sets each of these guys might bring to the table?
No, I just think it's about, deepening that lineup. I think more it's like that putting Mookie and Freddie back to back is great for its reasons in itself. Putting Mookie and Ohtani is great for different reasons as well. I don't think speed really comes into it. Just like Sebastian, it's just another hidden tool of Shohei. He had 20 steals last year, and that's in 135 games, something like that. So it's like if they let him, like if he's greenlit to run, and it just all depends. It's going to be. I think I talked with Blake about this more than a lot, that the largest beneficiaries of Ohtani right at the top and Freddie in the 3 are going to be Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez, whoever's batting right behind them.
Yeah.
RBI opportunities are going to go through the roof. And I think Teoscar is someone we're not talking about enough. Speed-wise, I don't know if that really is a big thought, just because you get on base, they're going to slug. And we almost saw Freddie break the record last year for doubles? Did he have 60? Was that he was right there? Was that what it was?
I think he broke the franchise record. Yeah,
broke the franchise record. That's right. I remember. Yeah. So, but we're going to see a lot of Freddie. We could see Freddie Freeman's largest RBI production ever. So let's get ready for that. I don't know if speed is the reason for it, but he's going to have guys on base, and Ohtani's just lucky enough. We're lucky enough to have that speed from Ohtani, where he's able to steal 20 bags, and he's going to be putting 40 bombs. So it's just. Combinations are endless. You can't go wrong. Everybody's going to think that exact same thing. You can't go wrong however you dice it. I just think Mookie in the 1, you can flip-flop Freddie and Ohtani, but I think they're dead set. I think once they keep this order, they're going to just roll with it and stick with it.
Freddie Freeman, by the way, 59 doubles last year. It was tied for the most in the major leagues over the last 87 years. Joe Medwick of the Cardinals, 64 doubles is the National League record. That was back in 1936 for those keepers. So, franchise record, nearly a major league record, but good stuff from Freddie Freeman there.
And then kind of sticking with the speed aspect, like the whole taking a step back and look at the lineup as a whole. You have Gavin Lux, obviously, with some speed, James Outman, a little bit of speed. So there's speed up and down through this lineup. So that should
Husky Muncie. Run into bases too. No, but I'm with you. I mean, look, this was a big storyline last year, was that stolen bases were up across Major League Baseball. Teams like the Diamondbacks made a huge push, and the Dodgers didn't really dabble. Now, are they going to risk the health of Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani? I'm skeptical, but at the same time, given a full year of data, is it possible the Dodgers get more aggressive on the base pass? I guess I'll just say I wouldn't be shocked by this. Last thing on the lineup, Scott, you kind of referenced this. Do you think that number 4 spot is going to be Will Smith, or do you think it's going to be a rotating sort of platoon almost between him and Teoscar Hernandez in the 4-5 spot?
I mean, the way Teoscar's hitting right now, and the way he looks, everybody needs to know his name. Like, there's a reason why he's getting paid a lot. He's a bat. I think it might take some pressure off of Will Smith. There's no knock on him. They're kind of interchangeable there. Will Smith had a little, some injury stuff. I mean, the concussion. So he had a little bit of a tough year last year, tough breaks. I don't think it's any knock on his ability, but if Teoscar keeps hitting, I can see Dave Roberts absolutely sliding him right into the cleanup spot, and he'll do incredible. Yeah. I'm hesitant to drop Will Smith just because it's where he's been for a few years. But I would without a doubt. I know you might not like this. It's not a knock on him, Jeff. I promise you. So don't. I'll duck and cover. I would put Teoscar in the 4.
Okay.
I would bat him cleanup.
Look, I think, if you're buying the Max Muncy hype, I think he's another name that could be in that mix as well, Sebastian, for the 4th spot. Like, I think any 3 of those guys on a given night, depending on who's hitting well and whatnot, could be in the 4, 5, 6 mix. If you had to guess, Sebastian, would it be Will Smith getting the most at bats in that 4 spot for you, or do you think it ends up being Teoscar Hernandez or someone else?
Yeah, I like bring up Muncy. I think his biggest strength, obviously, is like his play discipline, his eye. So I don't know about, he could work in the 4 spot, but kind of keeping him 5-6, where he kind of extends an inning. Maybe he's not an inning killer. Really use that play discipline to the best of his advantage. I think I wouldn't be mad at Teoscar in the 4. Like Scott said, the way he's been hitting, if he keeps it up, you earn you get what you earn. Yeah, and then. But obviously, Will Smith in the 4, keeping him there, fine by me.
Yeah, and Blake's pointing this out in the chat, and I was just digging. I mean, obviously, Ohtani a lefty, Freddie Freeman a lefty, so it feels like most likely a righty in that 4 spot. Now, do they go righty, lefty, righty, 4, 5, 6, and Muncy's 5, and maybe Will Smith is 4 and Teoscar Hernandez is 6? That would be my guess, is that Will Smith ends up with the most at-bats in the number 4 spot. But The ordering of the Dodgers lineup, let's just close this with, will be one of the topics of conversation throughout the year. And there's probably going to be pressure on guys. If it is Will Smith in the 4th spot, what happens if he starts out slow? Or Teoscar Hernandez, people get accustomed to, yes, the power, but also the strikeout numbers. Or if Max Muncy is playing well, I mean, it'd just be a fun thing to watch, and curious to see how our guy Dave Roberts tends to navigate that.